I want you to listen to Uncle today. I've come out of retirement, semi-retirement, to speak to you all because I believe that for Black, Asian and ethnic minority and migrant communities across the country, what we've seen over the past couple of weeks with incidents in Southport and Belfast and other areas of the country constitutes a national emergency. I know people might think that's a bit far-fetched, but at the position that I sit in, and speaking to organisations and communities right across the country, there's an unprecedented level of violence that has been directed towards our communities. And we all saw what happened in Belfast. I've been working in Belfast and Northern Ireland for about 18 months prior to the uprisings yesterday. And I've been appalled at what I've seen in terms of the paramilitary targeted racial and ethnic cleansing that is taking place in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Yes, these incidents over the last couple of days are not isolated. They may be bigger in scale, but whole communities have been burnt out. Over a year ago in Belfast, the Belfast Multicultural Centre was built, burnt down, rebuilt and burnt down again to make a political point. And in these loyalist areas of Northern Ireland, our communities are being ethnically cleansed. You have no idea of the terror that our people are facing in Belfast, Northern Ireland. You have no idea of the fear. Do you know that there are lists with people's names and addresses on it circulating on the internet, encouraging people to target their homes? Do you know that NHS workers on the way to work at hospitals are being attacked? Black teachers are not coming to school. Black parents and Asian parents and migrant parents, they're not sending their kids to school on their day. What kind of country are we living in where we see scenes that are more reminiscent of Mississippi burning than Belfast, Northern Ireland? And can I say this, that we're deeply disappointed, because the people of Northern Ireland and their history should allow them to have insight into what it's like to be an outsider, what it's like to be a victim of racism and discrimination. So I'm here today, an old uncle coming out of retirement, to ring the alarm and say, look, if this is what racial violence looks like 2 years out from a general election, notwithstanding the Makerfield by-election that is taking place in Manchester, if this is what it's like now, what is it going to be like a year out, 6 months out from the general election in 2 years' time? I fear to think the level of hostility and violence that we might see. And that's why it's very important to understand that fear is being organised, funded and organised. What people don't realise, and I want you to listen to me good here, what people don't realise is that this is an international, extreme, white supremacist, fascist funded initiative to create mayhem and racial war in Britain. When Nigel Farage ruthlessly exploited the death of Henry Novak against the wishes of Henry Novak's family, that was a fundamental desecration. A family in mourning, and we send our love and mourning wishes to the family of Henry Novak, who died in those tragic circumstances. But the way Nigel Farage just came out, urinated metaphorically on the grave of Henry Novak, dismissed the appeals from calm from a grieving father and his family, just shows you how deep these politics of hate can go. And of course, what subsequently happened with the riots in Southport. You'll see on your screen now a list of five or six white guys from Southampton. I don't even think they were from Southampton. I think they were bussed in there because they want to, save white society. They have criminal records as long as your arm. Some have 25 and 30 convictions. Some are rapists. Some have been convicted of serious violence. Some have extensive records for which you will not believe. So we know exactly what is being played out here through multi-billionaire tech bros funding, through Nigel Farage's multi-million crypto deals, through Tommy Robinson's scam in which he raises millions of dollars. That's what we're up against. and they're bussing people in. They're paying for ruthless thugs and racist thugs to be transported around the country. I've no doubt in time that the Northern Ireland riots in Belfast, it will be proven that there was English attendants being flown in or bussed in from other parts of the country. And the reason why I'm saying that is, look, it's time for communities to organise. I know, and I'm not being patronising in the least here, so please forgive me. I know that this younger generation haven't been battle tested in the kind of racist war and violence that people of my age and older and so on have been through in the 70s and 80s. They don't understand the level of violence and how it can escalate. But this is exactly how we came to lose Roland Adams, exactly how we came to lose Stephen Lawrence, exactly how we lost Rahula Aramish, exactly how we lost Altab Ali. And today, what do we see? We see a Sikh woman who was raped by a man who felt she deserved a rape because she was a Muslim. He didn't even get that right. We've seen elderly Asians murdered in the parks in Leicester. We've seen racial attacks in Glasgow coming off the back of the Belfast riots. There was a white mob roaming around central Glasgow, physically attacking everybody who's not white. We had other incidents in Southport on the night. And we know that this criminal conspiracy to provoke a race war, you know, with politicians hiding behind their words, but making it absolutely clear what their intent is. When Nigel Farage called for cold rage in the aftermath of Novak's death, that was a declaration of race war. That was a green light for violent racists. Nigel Farage called the people on Southampton decent, brave citizens. We now know that they've got criminal records. At least 4 of the 5 that were sentenced in the last couple of days have got criminal records as long as you are. So it's time for communities to organise, and we cannot afford to be divided. African, Caribbean, Asian, Muslim, Sikh, Sindhu, Chinese, all migrant communities, we're going to have to unify against what is a multi-million-pound campaign that is being directed against us, and one that is only warming up to create enough hate and division that when come the general election, Nigel Farage can have a shot at being Prime Minister. Can you imagine the country under Nigel Farage? Can you imagine the policies of Trump being imported here into the United Kingdom? That's why I'm out here ringing an alarm. Supposed to be out with my grandchildren today, and God willing, inshallah, I will be later today. But I had to take time to share this with you because we had a meeting on June the 11th online. Over 60 national African, Caribbean and Asian organizations, lawyers, campaigning groups, and the same sentiment I'm giving you today was expressed there. That we are deeply and enormously concerned. We're in a fragile psychological state. We're frightened to send our children to school. We're concerned about driving through certain areas. Now, I know some people out there say, yeah, not me, I can take care of myself and mine. Trust me, that's what African Americans were saying when Trump got elected. He won't do it, we'll be okay. And now look where we are in terms of African Americans, suffering the same sort of racist hell from the ICE deportation squads as anybody else. So it's short-sighted. We're going to have to come together on a level and a scale that is unprecedented. And we can't keep allowing our white anti-racist allies to show up in our place. Massive demonstrations have taken place. You know, we need a demonstration of 15, 20, 25,000 African, Caribbean and Asian communities and white allies coming together. But our community can't leave our defense to other people. And that's why on June 11th, we had that meeting. And I'm so delighted that national organizations turned up from around the country and from Northern Ireland who give us their searing testimony about what happened. And of course, on the island of Ireland, you have the case of Yves Sakila. Yves Sakila is a Congolese man in his 30s who was jumped on by 4 security guards and 2 members of the public. And that brother was so physically restrained by what was happening that he died. His family are in deep mourning. And you know what the response of Ireland has been to this unfortunate death caused by these security guards over a small issue of a cheap bottle of perfume? You telling me a black man's life is worth less than a bottle of cheap perfume? I know that justice will cost a lot more for sure, but his family are in grieving. His family are seeking justice. You know what the response of Northern Ireland is? Increased racism and hostility to that family, increased racism and volatility on the streets. And here, when we talk about Ireland and Northern Ireland, you have to see it believes it. Whole rows of shops burnt out, whole Red Crosses and intimidatory tactics on doors to clear the area. Please believe me, what happens in Northern Ireland today is heading for the United Kingdom tomorrow. We saw what happened in 2024 during those rights. So it's important that we're beginning to organize, and June the 11th is a strong indication that we have organized. So what are we going to do going forward in the future? Well, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, and this is a message to the man then, right? You have to come out your slumber. You have to come out your retirement like me. You have to come out, because now we need those experienced heads to organize the kind of militant and disciplined, because I'm not calling for any criminality, but organize in a way that protects our communities, protects our children, protects our families, protects our businesses, because it's going to get real hot and sticky between now and the general election. And so what we say is, contact us. You'll see all my details on this video. Contact if you're interested in being part of this pulling together of the biggest critical mass of our community organizations, faith groups and individuals, to the imams in our community. Please mobilize, prepare to mobilize in defense. To our pastors in the churches, please don't wait for God to provide us with a solution. God helps those who help themselves, and we are in need of helping our communities to do. To our Sikh brothers and sisters who have been harassed and targeted in the aftermath of Henry Novak, and to Jewish communities and synagogues who find themselves under a horrendous attack, we need to unify in a way that we have never seen before. I am petrified as your elder, as somebody with decades of experience of fighting this beast, of somebody who has been on the front line of organizing and fighting back against the forces that now seek to overwhelm us. I want to say to you with all my sincerity and calm that the future belongs for those who organize it today. The extreme racist right are organizing the scenario. Electoral victory on the back of racial divisiveness and war. And we're not seeing the leadership we need from our Prime Minister, and we need to see better leadership from police to give protection to our communities nationwide. But more than all of that, more important than all of that, is you. And whether you will now become active in the fight to defend our communities. I have children, I have grandchildren, and by His grace, I have great-grandchildren. I fear for their future. You should fear them too, because if we don't stop this thing today, then you can be certain that the legacy that you're bequeathing to your children will see Britain turn into Trump's America. So my name's Lee Jasper. I didn't really want to make this video, but I had to do it because we're in the midst of a national emergency, and exceptional circumstances call for exceptional responses. I hope you found this video useful. I'd be grateful if you could share it. Ring the alarm, get organized, contact me if you wish to be engaged, and let's begin the fight back to protect our communities.